Welcome back, everyone. In today's video we're going to be showcasing some of my favorite Astrophytum cultivars, how to identify them, and their names. Alright, let's get started. My favorite Astrophytum is Astrophytum mediostigma, the star cactus. This is how they look in the wild, with all the white powdery look, which are the little stigmas or trichomes. And the reason why they have those is they live in a very harsh environment, so they're trying to block out the sun so their epidermic tissue doesn't get burned. You can see the little individual white, almost hair-like. If you feel them, they feel like a velvet almost. Yeah, so that's what they look like in the wild. And I've heard, but I've never seen them personally, that there is a Astrophytum mediostigma nudum in the wild, but I don't know, I've never seen them. But in cultivation it's considered a cultivar, which is nudum or naked. It lacks all the little stigmas or trichomes, it just leaves the naked epidermic tissue showing. Here's a good back-to-back. So that's with the stigmas or the trichomes, and that's a nudum-ish. The next mutation or cultivar is Kikko, which is the division of the lobes and segments. This doesn't quite develop at first, especially in the seedling form. That one is related to this one. You can see the Kikko kind of showing through, just very little. And I ended up grafting this one, and it expressed a lot faster. So yeah, when they're little babies, you can't really even see it. On some of them, you almost don't see it at all. Like this guy, you can kind of tell he was Kikko, or he is Kikko, but the lobes never split apart. Same thing with this guy. You can see the areas where it would have split, but it never did. And if we walk over to the little baby area, you can start, I don't know if you can see it there. This one's probably a better option. You can see the that line where it's thinking about splitting. So yeah, in the little seedling form, it doesn't show up. It takes about a year plus if it's grafted to finally show up. So that's Kikko. The next cultivar or mutation is Fukuryu, which I've heard there's two types of Fukuryu. There's one with just an aborted rib in the middle, and then this type 2, which has all those little lumpy ribs that never truly formed. Here's one version of it. This guy's also Fukuryu. See all the little lumpy bits. And then this is more of a high-end, in my opinion, Fukuryu. See how nice and lumpy the between the ribs are. I have these two guys I'm raising up. They look very similar. I like the 5 lobes on the Fukuryus. They just give them a more chubby kind of round look. And then this is gonna be my stud. This same 5 lobes, but it's variegated on one side. So yeah, Astrophytum mediostigma Fukuryu, and this one's variegated. Another cultivar mutation you'll find for sale is this one. It's Hakuun, which people say it means cloud, but I don't know. And it's just like kind of in between a nudum and a regular, where it has little blotchy white bits. I've gotten these when I cross a nudum and a regular. So if I just take like that, cross it with that, I'll end up with some that are blotchy. See, this one has a little bit of blotchiness. This one has a little bit on the top. So does this Kikko. So when it has the blotching, it's a Hakuun. This is a good example of Fukuryu Hakuun. You can see the Fukuryu is not super express, and then the Hakuun is a little blotchiness. Another mutation you'll find for cultivar is Hakujo. It's basically when it has that little V line around the edge of the lobe. I've heard people call it double line too. So that. This one's also expressing it. This one is expressing it too. It's at the corner of the lobe. This one has a little bit showing. So yeah, the little white section, Hakujo. You'll also find variegated specimens. This is a variegated nudum. And you can see the variegated part is where it doesn't have chlorophyll. They grow real slow, they're weaker, but they look pretty. I don't have a lot of variegated ones, but here's a couple. This is a Variegated nudum Asterias. This one was given to me. It's a little weak, a little too variegated. Just that back part, and then the variegated Fukuryu. And occasionally you'll find Coyos. These always get mistaken as variegated, especially when they're really expressed. But Coyo is more of a stress pigment showing through. Because when the plant's happy, like this one, if it's really stressed, it'll get bright red. But right now it's just green. These are technically the same plant. This one's stressing yellow, and the bottom's expressing red. This one's always stayed the same since I grafted it. So it's expressing red around the edge of the lobes, yellow in the center, and then that one yellow and red and orange. This one's also a Coyo, but it's not showing through right now. But yeah, Coyo is more of a, I think it's more of a sensitivity, where it's more sensitive to harsh light, and then it expresses its stress pigments faster. But they look real nice. And occasionally you'll find stuff that has all of them in there. So this one's Fukuryu, which is the little lumpy inner lobes. It's nudum. It's a Hakuun. There's all the little white blotching in there. And Hakuyu, it has those double V's. And I think it's also Kikko. You can see where it wants to divide. There's a good example there. So it hasn't quite split, but I'm pretty sure this is a lot of stuff mixed in there. Same thing with this guy. I'm not even sure what this guy is. He's a Kikko of some sort, but the Kikko sections divide into 3. Pretty consistent, even the new growth. I don't know. Some kind of Kikko-ish. Another wild type plant is Astrophytum Coahuilense. It was thought to be a mediastigma for a while, but they found out you can't really cross them together. It's an older lineage. You can cross Coahuilense with Asterias, which is these guys, but you can't cross Coahuilense with mediastigma. So even though they look really similar, Here's another mediastigma. You can't cross them together. Different color flowers and a different lineage. And if you look at the trichomes, wish you can feel them. They're a little softer, more shaggy looking. And I think the Onzukas were a cross of coahuilenses to an Asterias super cabuto, and I'll show you why. So the Astrophytum Onzuka can be crossed with a cabuto. Has the V's, has the little sections, just like a cabuto would. And you can't cross a cabuto with the mediastigma, but you can cross a cabuto with the coahuilense. So yeah, I think that's I don't know for sure, but I think the original Onzuka was a coahuilense to an Asterias, a Capricorne, or a cabuto, one of the two, or a mix of all of them. Yeah, Astrophytum Onzuka. This is Astrophytum super cabuto, and then they come in different forms, where the little spots are closer together, further apart. People select from. It's technically a cabuto too. And there's regular cabuto, super cabuto. This is a V-type cabuto. This is Astrophytum Asterias, just the wild type. Here's some more super cabutos. These are a miracle or star shape cabutos, where the edge of the lobe kind of sinks in, creating a star shape. Here's another cabuto. Another cabuto there. These are pretty hard to grow. If you're gonna get into astros, I would say do a mediastigma first, something like that, just a nudum or a Kikko, and then branch off to a ornatum, Capricorne, and then leave the Asterias, the cabutos alone until you're a little more experienced. And this is Astrophytum Capricorne. I don't know the locale, but this is the one with the kind of paper spines. My theory is the first cabuto was an Asterias, wild type, cross to a Capricorne that was very similar to this, and then that's how you got a super cabuto. And the reason why I say that is I have the exact same cross. So right there, that's a Capricorne to an Asterias, and it looks like a cabuto. So yeah, Astrophytum Asterias and Astrophytum super cabuto. Astrophytum Asterias Kikko. And there's different extremes of Kikko. This is just like the regular, I don't know, little speckling, normal Asterias look, but with the Kikko. Looks real nice. And this is what they call the nudum, maybe lizard skin. Lizard skin where it starts to develop those little warts in between. And then I have a Kikko nudum crest. A little bit more white. And then there's Asterias super cabuto Kikko. So Kikko has a little kind of nipple looking things. There's I have a bunch of that clone. And the last one is Astrophytum caput-medusae, or it used to be called Astrophytum dihitostigma, which I like better, but I don't get to pick. But yeah, it's has the stigmas, little trichomes. And this one's a grafted one that I grafted, but normally that whole tuber would grow underground, and it would bulge up, kind of like an adenium in a way. And then it has the same flowers as mediastigma would. But yeah, Astrophytum caput-medusae.